Welcome to Founders in Biotech. In our last episode, we had our guest James Lee, who is the founder CEO of Bridge Biotherapeutics, and we discussed his entrepreneurial journey. And what we learned is that business development can drive up the value of science and the company for biotech significantly. And it's an essential process for biotech to build relationships with companies, partners, to create value from the deal structures that are based on the science. So in this episode, we'll take a deep dive with James into the logic, the mechanics, and his framework for business development. Let's dive in. Right. I would like to dive in very technically into business development, everything non-confidential business development tools, because I think it's under, it's not very, there's no formal education for business development. When scientists come to a biotech company, you run now a business development. What is it? Is it marketing? Is it sales? Is it deal making? It's everything probably, but let's talk about like your experience. And one maybe high level question, has BD in biotech changed over the last decade?
Huge change. Basically, the essence is the same, but huge change in terms of market dynamics. Back in early 2000, so when I look into the Nasdaq market and try to list up all the biotech companies on Nasdaq market, that time the total number of biotech companies were roughly 300. But nowadays, much more than that. And plus, there are more biotech companies, not only from America, but also from China, Korea, India, and also European parts as well. So many companies are come into the market to sell their pipeline product. But if we look at the buy-siders, the big pharma, number of big pharma are the same because there are so many mergers and acquisitions between pharma companies. So compared to the market, biotech BD market, between 2000 and today, basically today's BD is more of buy-side market compared to last decade.
That's very interesting.
So we call more competitive, more challenging to biotech companies.
Oh, it makes many things clear. So you'd say compared to 2000s, the supply has increased, but the demand side, like the buyer side, pharma, stayed comparatively constant.
Correct.
Okay, so this makes for companies, like for biotech companies to it explains a lot. So you cannot go broad, you go very niche, you select a very specific strategy and execute it.
Right.
And if you would give a lecture to students, for example, what would you say are the key basics in business development when they would approach this career in biotech?
Right. So one of the class actually I had almost 20 years ago. The instructor actually taught us what BD is in 3 terms. He said, find, engage, and manage. So finding means finding potential partner with some scientific value proposition, and next step is engaging them. Actually, engaging is a very complicated process. If it is too early, it doesn't happen. If it's too late, it doesn't happen. If we bring too costly terms, it'll not happen. So engaging is very complicated and requires a really well thought approach. And then manage or harvest. Actually, it's talking about the post-deal alliance management. Pretty simple. nine of 10 deals actually breaks up later, someday down the road. So managing relationship between us and partner is really really important and requires ongoing effort. So pretty simple. Business development is a process of finding, engaging, and managing.
That's 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 very simple, but it's true.
Right.
It's very simple, but it's true. I'm surprised that the Pareto principle is also uh, represented here in deal making. Like as you
Mhm.
said, that post deal alignments like 9 of 10 break up. So we need to pay attention to. Yeah. Okay. Now we're close. Okay. Let's move on. It's a nurturing relationship. I'm a big fan of that because
Mhm.
it pays dividends, or like in terms of relationship over, I would say it starts to pays off within 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Mhm. Right.
But then it's a very strong and trustful relationship once this
Yeah.
happens. So
Correct.
let's maybe be very technical. So you are, imagine you have a new biotech, and
Mhm.
you have one asset, like in terms of like a lecture, and you know that
Mhm.
there are these 3 stages for biotech entrepreneur. What would you recommend for this find phase? Are
Mhm.
those partnering events, conferences, publications, nature publications? What is the finding activity that would recommend you should do this, and that, or like I would do this, and that?
Right. So yeah, if I can recommend, I think the first step might be Bio USA or Bio International Conference, which provides really good partnering platform system, IT system. So if you, as the company is very new to BD, then I recommend to attend the Bio through each IT, really well developed IT system to figure out which companies are interested in our assets. So there might be a big company, or might be a small company, or might be an investor. So through that very general and very large partnering events, we can map out which companies are interested in from which angles. And then we can go to very specialized scientific conferences. If the asset is oncology, then we should go to AACR or ASCO, cancer specialized scientific events. And then so JP Morgan might be the most spotlighted event, partnering event in the world. But again, I
For
recommend to
investments?
attend the bio as a kind of introductory event.
Yeah, that's and JP Morgan is more for fundraising, right? Or
Yes and
also
no. So
partnering.
basically,
I never
JP
been there.
Morgan,
That's why I'm asking.
yeah, JP Morgan healthcare conference itself is a IR centric or fundraising centric event, but around in the same venue to attend the IR event, C-levels, C-suits from pharma companies, small companies all get together, and that's the perfect atmosphere or environment for partnering. So JP Morgan itself is a IR or financial event, but side meetings around that is truly a partnering event.
Okay. Yeah, I heard from a big pharma company. They still were complaining it's a bit overpriced even for them. So they kind of reduced the number of staff that was traveling there.
Right.
Yeah, but it's kind of the key event for one of the key events, I'd say, that in biotech. If you have the opportunity to be there, that's
Correct.
sounds like you say it's a perfect partnering
Hmm.
venue, and that's very helpful. So we have. Thank you. I think those are very relevant. Let's say recommendations. The bio specific conferences that are relevant for the industry, and some like flagship events like JP Morgan Healthcare.
Right.
So we have findings. So we find something. We have hopefully something to offer that is relevant. You said that engaging is quite complex. So
Yeah.
would you say it's complex because it's a sales process, and like as a scientist, I love selling. I think of selling as something helping and building a relationship.
Hmm.
I don't have this negative connotation like regarding selling, because you're just helping, you're offering something and figure out a way to provide this value to whoever is on
Mm.
in front of you. So what is this engaging phase? And
Hmm.
one important parameter I think for this phase is also the time. Like how long does it take to
Right.
engage, and what is the process?
Right. So actually, engaging phase, we already know the potential partner are already at the table. But that phase, we need to know what their needs are. So we should do some homework before meeting with them uh, in terms of their needs and their kind of financial expectation, and and also timing is also very important. So before starting engagement process, we need to do some homework in terms of kind of intelligence about the potential partner, and we should do some kind of financial modeling, which will be the basis for financial term sheet, and also we should build our data room of, to prepare due diligence in timely way.
Yeah, I fully agree that um, I fully agree that in this phase you have to figure out a deal for yourself that you can offer.
Right.
In terms,
Right.
it's not an exploratory conversation. I would say if it's too exploratory, it will be quickly rejected, I would say.
That's right.
You mentioned that data room. It also like clearly states we have a deal, we have the infrastructure, here's the
Right.
package, and those are the terms I would like to offer. They will be probably discussed, but at least you have a package that you could. That's very. I think that's very critical. What you just said. What is your like when I talk to smaller biotech companies and they say, "Oh, those this innovation scout was super excited about it." I was like, be careful with innovation scouts. They're always excited, and because that's their job to get new technology. But
Right.
yeah, there might be a lot of like disappointment, because this excitement of innovation scout does not
Mm.
represent the interest of the company that is
Right.
inside.
Right.
So sometimes it might misguide us. Oh, there's excited that they represent the need of the company for this technology or
Right.
an asset, but it's their job to attract. Um, would you share this? I mean, it's kind of a word of course is like when I have those conversations, like please check or make due diligence on this if this is interest or just excitement about new technology.
Oh yeah, such a thing happens a lot. Yeah, in biotech, especially if the founders or the BD persons are quite junior or new to BD space. As you said, they're window person, scouters always try to make the meeting, make the relationship very pleasant and exciting. So that's why they say, "Oh, it's really nice scientifically. I take this to our reviewers, and so I will get back to you soon." But the reviewers in the organization, one, they might have some competing projects internally, or they are not fully informed of data. Put it this way: the reviewers have their own jobs internally, so they don't spend several days in a project to review. So they should want to see what is really in there for them. So without any well thought message, the reviewers will not spare much time to the project. That typically happens. And also, if the project is too early, then they don't want to spend their time reviewing premature stage projects. So my recommendation to the situation actually is about timing of when we start BD activities.
It's never
If
too
the
early to
project is
start.
too early, meeting might be good as a pre-marketing, but it will result in real substantive discussion at all. So it's always better to start the serious business discussions later, probably around the IND filing or before or right after human POC.
Yeah, I agree. It's never too early to start the conversation, just to be on the radar. But you have to know in which phase you are. So before we go into this too early aspect, maybe you can share some your perspective on this the last phase, the management, like post deal management. What are the key activities there? Is it updates? Is it very simple, or what is this?
I think most important aspect of relationship management or alliance management is multidimensional relationship building. So we might have a working level relationship, so-called working group team, and also we need some senior management level relationship as well. So a multi-dimensional or multi-layer relationship building is a kind of must. Let's imagine there might be a problem in a working level, but it might be almost nothing to management level at all. So if we have some relationship in the management level and we face some problem in working level, then we quickly go up to management level to handle that working level issues very smoothly. If we spend too much time at a working level to solve that issue, then it may become kind of very serious kind of conflict between two companies.
Yeah, I understand. Like, not being transparent about what's going on and timely information that here we are. Those are the options. Those are our decisions. We'll move into the directions if you agree, something like that. So I think that's very helpful. It reminds me of the advice for startup companies not to underestimate investors' relationship.
Right.
It sounds very similar. And I will also, for startups, always recommend build the relation with investors. They want to know what's happening, and if it's not on a regular basis, it's not I wouldn't say it messes up the relationship. It's not nurturing the relationship. So probably because if you are not doing it and you have maybe a hard time for whatever reason, because there are crises in company building. That's a typical process of company growth. And you come up probably with, oh, now we have a problem and I need you. It's probably not a good, like, why do it me? What happened? And I don't have any information. Like, so
Right.
it's probably a similar. So you have a deal, you manage the assets, you develop them, and this information flow builds trust, and maybe they will have some ideas how to solve a problem or like how to analyze the data, what is relevant for them.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Uh,
and
so,
yeah,
okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to go into this too early discussion. Too
Mhm.
early is probably a no.
Yeah.
Or is it too early? Because also one of advices is when the potential buyers or partners sell too early, it
Mhm.
might get the biotech into a justification data generation mode, which is
Mhm.
counterproductive for deal making, right? So if I would
Right.
have this data, I would need you to generate the data. So it's also too early sounds simple, but there are, as you said, multiple layers of
Mhm.
conversations that you might like directions that you can learn from you. Could you like just explore this topic of too early, because I think it's very important in BD and biotech.
Yeah. Yes. As a biotech, we need a deal, not only with investor, but also a pharma company to secure capabilities and resources to develop our assets. So, to biotech company, we need a deal as soon as possible. But from the farmer's perspective, they always require some mature data package, which will cost a lot of money and time as well. So there's just some big gap between biotech's perspective and farmer's perspective. So when you say we need a deal, uh, that said, actually, a biotech company or biotech executive or entrepreneur, so we always need money to generate data which will trigger a deal with a pharma company. So if we, if our potential partners' response is too early, I think it's truly too early to them, meaning that we may bring novel science. By saying novel means actually there are many things to be proven experimentally down the road. So we it might be very difficult to persuade pharma companies with novel sciences with limited data sets yet. So at that point, we need to actually go to investors to finance the science to generate the data.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. So you okay, you have maybe some a data package they would like to see, and then you have the fundraising activities again somewhere else to like to generate the package. But you can clearly see there is interest in that. Oh, that's
Right.
helpful. Yeah, to bridge this to early phase.
Right.
Okay, okay, that's optimistic. That's very practical.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very practical. Okay. And when is company like there are probably or in the past with the biotech hype, let's say in the last 5 years,
Hmm.
we've seen deals for portfolio, like for multi-target
Right.
exploration. I
Mm.
don't see it anymore. I don't see it as I've seen it in the last, like I would say, 5 years.
Right.
Some AI companies are now shifting to pipelines, not portfolios.
Right.
Which I was expecting. So maybe you can comment, when is a company ready for a deal? So there have been more early stage deals, exploratory, but now we see a switch to like pipeline, more progress. When is a company
Yeah.
today ready for a deal?
So we see some changes in the BD landscape in terms of the nature of deals. Back 2 years ago or 3 years ago, pharma companies tried to have a very early stage deals with platform technologies, which might generate compounds. But it changed a lot to the other extreme. So nowadays, pharma companies always try to have a compound in IND stage or later. So they say they don't want to put their money in unproven technology yet. They want to have compounds which can be translated to drug sometime very soon. So BD market actually changed very fundamentally in last 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
And
Thanks.
this change might be very challenging to small biotech companies, but the change itself is as is. Yeah.
Change is change. You have to adapt,
Yeah. Right.
especially as a founder. One last question regarding the BD part. A question that I struggle is, can this cycle become shorter in general? So generally a deal like 6 to 18 months, from the phases, find, engage, and manage.
It really depends, but I guess the cycle will get longer. As you mentioned, current market is a buyer's market. The pharma companies have lots of options compared to a couple of years. If the data really hits them, it'll go really fast. But it is kind of as mediocre or needs some killing data. It'll take more time to hit the deal with the pharma companies. So it's better to expect it'll take longer time than several years ago.
I think that's very helpful. Thanks a lot for sharing this technical aspects of business development.